Welcome to NG Originals by Natty Grace Boutique. This is Stephanie, and today we're going to be making an insulated wine bag to help keep our wine nice and cool. The first thing that we need to do is cut out our fabric. We're going to need one fabric piece. I chose duck canvas from Joann's, one thermal lining, and one vinyl or waterproof lining, all cut at 12 by 13 inches with the 13-inch side being our top side. We are going to need one piece of fabric cut at 2 inches by 13 inches, and this is going to be for our binding. Place your fabric right side down, and we're going to layer our 3 pieces together. The order should be fabric, thermal lining, and then our vinyl or waterproof lining. It's my personal preference that the shinier side of the thermal lining should be facing up, but I honestly don't think this matters. This is just a personal preference I gained through experience. So we're going to line them all up as best as possible and then move on to the binding. For the binding, we're going to use our 2 by 13 inch piece, and we're going to start by folding it in half, unfolding it, and using that center fold as a guide to fold the outsides in, and then fold it in half again. This sounds complicated, but this is what it should look like before the final fold. This is what it looks like finished, and pressing throughout the entire process to keep it all clean. This is going to make the binding that's going to hide the raw edges and create a nice clean trim that we're going to put over top those 3 layers of fabric. We're going to top stitch them down, and for this you can use your regular presser foot, but I prefer a binding foot, and I got mine on Amazon for just a few dollars. Now I also chose to stitch my 3 layers together first to avoid any movement when attaching the binding, and just to keep in mind we are working with some pretty slippery fabrics between the plastic vinyl and the silver lining, and we don't want to have any movement when we're trying to attach all of those layers in between the binding. So just taking a straight stitch down is going to allow them to have no movement and easily slip in between that binding. This is what it's going to look like when that part is finished. Now take that, put that in the binding, and just top stitch it all together. This is what that's going to look like when it's completed. It's a nice clean trim. Don't worry about those edges, we'll trim those off in a second. Now we're going to take our 2 raw edges and put them together with fabrics right side to right side, and we're just going to stitch down the side to close the side seam. I am choosing a heavy duty outdoor upholstery thread for this project simply because it is a stronger thread and our fabric is likely to come in contact with water from a sweating wine bottle, so we want our object to last as long as possible. So this is what it looks like when it's finished, and we have a little excess fabric, so we're just going to take our scissors or our rotary cutter and trim the excess. We are working with some pretty thick fabric, so it might be a little bit difficult, but either a rotary cutter or your scissors should be able to get through your fabric with a nice clean and close edge. This is what it looks like when it's finished, and I cut probably about a 1/4 inch from the seam. This next step is completely optional. It's called the box method, and we're just going to create 1-inch boxes in each bottom corner and cut them out. And what this method allows is for your bag to sit flat at the bottom. It's completely not necessary if you don't want to take the extra steps. If you don't, then you can skip this step and just make a straight stitch down the bottom, and then turn your bag right side out and you're finished. But I think this is easy enough and creates a much cleaner finish. So once you mapped out where your boxes are, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut them out. I did cut mine out a little bit lopsided, but I just went ahead and fixed that with my scissors afterwards. Now we're going to take our newly created bottom and we're going to take a straight stitch down the bottom, and we're going to back stitch about a 1/2 inch, and we're not going to close our corners in. Now we're going to pull our corners out until our seam is flat and then straight stitch, pull it right side out, and then voila, we have a completed insulated wine bag that is great to use for picnics, family gatherings, festivals, maybe Mardi Gras, anything that you want to take a bottle of wine to. You can add snaps, elastic, or a drawstring to help it stay closed. This bag should keep your wine cool for at least a few hours, and definitely longer if you have something that's going to close the bag off. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you want to, and follow us on social media. This is our beauty finished, and we also create matching insulated totes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at Natty Grace Boutique, or you can just shop us online at nattygrace.com. Thanks for watching. Bye!